If you've been online at all this year, you've probably noticed one very obvious pattern. Every rising female artist, every new girl group, every 20-something actress is being pushed in the same direction. Dress more boldly or risk being ignored. From KATSEYE's debut visuals to Sabrina Carpenter's stage outfits, from Sydney Sweeney being constantly judged for how she looks even when she's doing nothing, it feels like the industry has quietly agreed on one rule. Young women need a grown-up, attention-grabbing image to stay relevant. And somehow this pressure is being marketed back to us as empowerment. Today, we're diving into how the pop industry has turned young women into business products, how social media blurs the line between choice and coercion, and how we're basically repeating Y2K-era sexism, just with better cameras, more diversity, and a feminist paint job. Let's take a look at the global girl group, KATSEYE. 6 talented young women, great dancers, promising artists. But with them, the conversation gets even more complicated, because this isn't just a group of adults making stylistic choices. One of their members is literally a minor, a teenager. Yet their debut styling, choreography, and concept lean heavily into a mature, adult-coded image that feels disconnected from their ages. The camera work, the outfits, the performances, they're all designed to highlight visual appeal before individuality.
On the internet, the conversations aren't about their talent or art, but how uncomfortable their concepts feel.
We're working on gnarly. It just needed a little extra something. It needed a little extra juice, so we're looking through some sounds.
Solo the sound. Okay.
And that's where the real discomfort comes from. These girls didn't get the chance to grow into their artistry or explore different aesthetics. They were launched into the industry already polished, already branded, already shaped to fit what sells. When you have a minor in a group styled and choreographed in ways meant to appeal to an older audience, it stops feeling like a creative choice and starts feeling like a commercial strategy. It's not just groups. Solo artists face the same paradox. Olivia Rodrigo is a perfect example. Dress modestly and she's bland. Dress boldly and she's trying too hard. Everything she wears becomes a public debate about what kind of woman she should be, instead of what kind of artist she is.
Sabrina Carpenter is one of the clearest examples of how this paradox plays out in real time. Over the past year, her entire aesthetic has shifted into hyper-feminine, doll-like glamour. Micro dresses, corsets, thigh-high boots, and stage looks that become a topic of discussion every time she performs. People love to say, well, she's choosing to dress this way, or she's a fully grown adult knowing what she wants. And we are not denying it, but what they ignore is that Sabrina grew up in the industry. She learned very young that a certain kind of image gets attention, goes viral, and boosts the numbers. Her outfits aren't just fashion choices, they're part of a strategy the industry rewards. But the downside is brutal. The moment Sabrina leans into this aesthetic, she gets called performative, attention-seeking, or too calculated. Yet when she dressed more modestly in the past, people called her forgettable or childish. She couldn't win then, and she can't win now. Sabrina's recent choices aren't just about clothes. They reveal how female artists are expected to balance maturity in a perfect, market-friendly way. The industry expects her to be desirable but approachable, glamorous but still commercial. It's a performance within a performance. This mindset for women in entertainment industry isn't new. But what's different now is how early it starts and how casually it's justified. Female artists are told they need a persona or a visual identity. But behind the scenes, labels and marketing teams shape that persona for them. And surprise, surprise, it almost always ends up looking the same. Tiny skirts, sultry choreography, intense glam, and a level of grown-up confidence no one ever asks if they're ready for. Industry executives argue it's what sells. And now, with the language of empowerment slapped onto everything, the industry pretends that glamorized maturity is feminism, even when the woman being branded doesn't even have a fully developed frontal lobe.
Sydney Sweeney has become one of Hollywood's most visible case studies in the way the industry uses a woman's appearance for marketability, then punishes her for the attention it generates. Ever since Euphoria, she's been boxed into the bombshell aesthetic, treated less like a multifaceted actor and more like a brand built on glamour, camera framing, and public perception. She can't exist online or offline without someone reducing her to how she looks. And her film roles, headlines focus on her appearance long before they mention the plot. And now it's been turned into part of her branding. And yet when she tries to step outside that box, the conversation doesn't shift to her range or her producing power. It shifts to whether she's too much, not bold enough, or acting innocent. What people rarely acknowledge is that she's navigating a system that both demands and criticizes femininity. Sydney didn't design this contradiction. She's working within it. Empowerment is about choice. A grown woman confidently embracing glamour on her own terms is empowerment. But what about the situations where choice is barely an option? What about 19-year-olds styled by executives? What about girl groups choreographed by older men? What about actresses pressured into roles or scenes designed to make them look more marketable? And what about artists who get criticized no matter what they wear? The pressure is constant. It isn't empowerment when every choice leads back to a double standard designed to benefit everyone except the young women at the center. Social media has turned this issue into a full-blown machine. Algorithms reward eye-catching content, even if the artist didn't intend it. A slightly revealing outfit gets more saves, more shares, more viral circulation. Not because the woman is empowered, but because users have been conditioned to sensationalize women instantly. And the brutal side effect is this. Young female artists now feel like if they don't match the internet's beauty and mature glam standards, they simply won't get visibility. Their content won't perform, their brands won't grow, and their careers might not move forward. So even the artists who would choose modesty or a different aesthetic feel pressured into bold branding by an invisible force, the algorithm.
Dua Lipa, Blackpink, Charli XCX, and Billie Eilish each illustrate how the entertainment machine treats female identity like a dial it can turn up or down depending on what sells. Blackpink, despite their global power, are routinely stylized as luxury dolls, their individuality flattened in favor of a hyper-controlled, glamour-driven image that serves the brands more than the artists. What's happening today is a polished reboot of early 2000s misogyny, the low-rise skirts, the tiny tops, the good girl versus rebellious girl narratives. It's all back. Except now companies have added diversity, female-fronted messaging, and the illusion of empowerment to make it palatable. It's not real progress if the same sexist formula is repackaged with feminist language. If young women have no control over their image, it's not empowerment, it's exploitation. And if mature branding becomes a requirement for relevance, that's not liberation, that's conditioning dressed up as modern marketing. The solution is not to shame women for embracing glamour or confidence. The real issue is the system that forces those aesthetics onto them as a survival tactic. Female artists should be able to choose who they want to be. Bold, modest, chaotic, elegant, anything. Without the industry or the internet policing their image. Because young women shouldn't have to choose between being expressive and being respected. They should be allowed to be both or neither, based entirely on their own terms. Until that happens, the industry will keep selling the same message. Be bold or be irrelevant. And honestly, it's time we stop accepting that as the norm. Thank you for watching.